Well, I'm not sure exactly. Are we live? We're live. Hello, YouTube. It's 22nd of March. Cheers. Good morning. There was a last night after Elliot was finished, and as he was getting ready to go after we finished dinner last night, he mentioned something that made me realize I needed to revisit this just a little bit, like a director's commentary as you sit and watch a movie that you enjoyed. Not necessarily that my dinner with Ramey was such an event, but that the person or people who were principals in it would sit and kind of dialogue about the conversation and the event. I'm not going to review the nearly 4 hours of that. But there have been a few things this morning for me to reflect on, and I thought I would go ahead and make a little bit of commentary. I didn't know exactly what I was wanting to achieve. I was wanting it to happen. I was wanting my dinner to happen. And I needed the ceremony to proceed regardless of how it proceeded, because it needed to just be a ceremony. It just needed to be something. I received, among the people that I alerted to last night's dinner, is someone whom really I've only had a handful of dinners with, and someone who I have respected immediately, but someone who also I think has been very puzzled by me over the years, and how that might apply to many of you. But and it was a very nice note that she was able to watch some of my dinner last night, and she touched on something that I think is very true, and that's part of what it is I'm trying to accomplish. And she says, you know, I really hope that you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish, and that we all are yearning for that feeling of wanting to be seen. So, and then this isn't what she implies. I won't subscribe this to her, but it's my reaction. So what's the big deal, dude? What are you whining about? Why do you have to go to this effort to say something that the rest of us are just dealing with? That's my point. That's the point. That was cool. Too bad. Oh man, you couldn't see it. So I have. Did you hear the ding of the wood stove? Well, I have a French press here, and some water dropped, and the ding on the wood stove caused a. Well, simultaneously there was a ripple on the. So it's like it was ding. That was a nice touch. Yeah. I think one of the things that I want to have documented is that I hear very clearly what Elliot's saying, and what my mother has said, and what my professors have said, and I listen very acutely to what the government is saying, and to what the standards say and my peers say, and I do pay attention. I'm very respectful for all the energy and work that all of you are doing. I've been very respectful to listen and to treat my life and everyone in it with as much care as possible. I know everybody is feeling that. That's why I'm asking, why are we all feeling that? Why are we restricted to pushing that away when, you know, I mean, these are just props, right? But if we all recognize the elephant, why aren't we better planning? Why aren't we better dealing with it? You know, nobody came last night. Who you saw was here. And my mother Karen was here. Of course I listen to that. Of course I pay attention to the fact that I've lived in this place since 1995, April of 95. I first flew up to Fairbanks the day of the Oklahoma City bombings. And it was a beautiful, interesting cascading of events from there, which to not relocate myself here, to go through whatever the North was going to be for me, would have been slapping God in the face. And I'm not that smart. I'm not that capable, you know? I need every bit of help I can get. And people like my friend, I would love to be able to sit at that little wine bistro with her friends and chat about the books on the shelves and about the richness of our spirits and our emotions and how we connect to people and relationships and how we move through space and dance, right? The dance of conversation and interests and body and how it all can feed together. You know, I mean, I've listened. I get it. I had a chance to host 127 Spaniards, only one of whom spoke broken English. I don't speak any Spanish. And they were staying at a ranch, Beaver Ranch, in Conifer, Colorado. I'm not sure that, I don't think Kiwanis owns it anymore. I'm not sure who owns it. Maybe Boys and Girls Club, or I'm not sure. I don't remember. I did look it up a few years ago, but I haven't followed up with it in recent years. And it was World Youth Day, and the Pope was visiting, and so we had all these visitors, and I peeled hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of logs of lodge poles for teepees. And this interesting couple who had a big flatbed trailer with a log cabin built on it that they sold their kind of mountain man gifts and set up teepees and I mean, just interesting people. There are so many interesting, creative people out there just doing what they do, you know? And here were a couple, and they taught me, like he was great with a whip, you know? So I learned a few things about using a whip. Well, where else is a white kid from Boulder, Colorado going to learn that, you know? So I take advantage of it. I learn. And so with these Spaniards, it was just neat to just let go to the experience, to say, what do you need? Here's our space. Here's our lodge. Here are the cabins. Here's the forest. You know, they came from near the border of Portugal, and it was another world for them. It was like walking into a Western movie, and their fascination of seeing these teepees and these mountains and these rocks and the genuine purity of their spirits. Now, I'm not Catholic. I maybe have sat through, you know, 4 or 5 hours of mass or ceremony in the Catholic tradition, maybe a few more than that. But the purity of their spirit, just enjoying a fire, you know. Those are the things I pulled on to support my health, to support my mental health. I was taught to do that. All these books on these people's shelves, which they want to be noticed, these parts of themselves which they're screaming to have heard and seen. I see it. I see you. I see you. So can we get on? You know? And it's not that, oh, you got to see me, oh, pay attention to Ramey. But are you so damn intimidated by real life that you will shoulder me or you will make me the enemy when I am the last person that's going to do you harm? Come on. It was a beautiful thing with these Spaniards. And one night they had this dance and they refused. They made this sangria that was just unbelievable. And they just took over this huge kitchen that we had in this lodge. And they were having this dance and they pulled me in, and I like to think I can dance, but I haven't done it enough, and I would like to be more taught. I'd like to take tap, actually. And I, oh, no. And all they said is just watch your partner's eyes. Just watch their eyes. Don't worry about your body. Just watch their eyes. So I'm, I don't know, early 20s, 22, 23. And there's an age range of people, mainly young adults, same age as I, maybe mid, late 20s. But people in their 60s and 70s and a couple teenagers. And it was just so, I can't call it God because I don't think it's what, when I say God, I don't think you have an understanding of what it is I try to mean. And I don't mean any disrespect for your understanding of it, but when people reflect back to me how they understand what I'm saying and it doesn't fit with my understanding, I think it's still my right to say, no, that's not what I'm meaning. Let me try to explain it more. And that's as far as I get with many people, with most people, that there's no more further conversation from there. But that spirit, I don't know what happened. I just remember looking at my partner's eyes and just how happy. I mean, those were really hard years. I say from like November of '87 until really 95, 96, and probably 96 into 97. If you know Gone with the Wind, or think of any 3+ hour movie, and if you break that down into 20 to 45-second segments, just randomly, and then jumbled them all up, and then replayed the 3.5 hours, my guess would be is that someone who watched that would be able to identify characters and would get a general sense of what the story is overall, but that they've had to resequence things. And not knowing where things are in order until it's all done, they still have to build some narrative as they go. That's really kind of what all those years are like for me. I have an inner narrative of what happened in a chronological sequential order. And I have very rich memories of that. I don't always have a clear memory of what I was like, of what people were experiencing with me. I had to go into pilot mode. I had to heal. I had no other way to do it. The last couple of years, some of the people who have known me, and I don't know many people from my past, I mean, literally, I talked to one person who knew me from high school, except my mom. And it was not, I mean, she's been one of the most supportive people in my life. And I don't know how to, excuse me, I need to. it'd be easy just to go along with it, you know? Well, I guess for me it isn't, but I sat down with this friend and I said, "Hey, who you know is real, but there's more to me than that, and I would like to start to introduce you to him because there's a fuller experience available, and especially as I am able to witness and hear what you want in your life, I think the more of me there is can offer you more because you've been so supportive of me. I would like to make myself more available to you." And I have no idea how that, like, I mean, if the situation was reversed, I would like to feel that I would have some relief, some interest, excitement, some inspiration, like winning the lottery and thinking you won 300 but finding out you won 300,000. Perhaps like, whoa, really? Elliot last night spoke to giving people the benefit of the doubt. I think the preface to my ability to do that is trying to take care of the practical things of, are we talking about the same terms? So if someone says to me, "Ramey, well, you think this about me," and if that's not something that I think about them, I feel like it's my responsibility to say, no, actually, uh, I I don't think that about you. But so what happens when the person says, "Ramey, you think I'm always wrong"? Well, no, I don't think you're always wrong. I I mean, in all beautiful compassion, I don't really know how to deal with that. I don't know how to react to that. And sitting here on a Sunday morning, Saturday morning, on a beautiful day in Fairbanks, Alaska, in March and early spring 2014, I wonder, why on earth would you work so hard to complicate a situation? What's the point? Of course, we all want to be seen. I wonder if, excuse me for a technical moment, as I double check. I forgot to do some of the settings on this, I think. It's scary that Google makes this so easy. Good luck to you however you're going to use it. But it's pretty scary that Google makes it this easy. I'm really, really sorry for the intimidation. I've my teachers taught me, and many drunk, abusive, violent men taught me, and many strong, intelligent, creative, resourceful, strong women taught me. And people who now thousands of others say, oh, we love your advice, we love, oh, shower us in your wise words of taking control of your life, of pain management through mindfulness and surviving brain injuries with meditation and novel and complex exercises and pursuing your passions and never saying no and persevering through your disability and all this praise and glory and everything else. And I think, wow, holy crap, I really know how to do that. Like, it really works. Hey, yoo-hoo. Hey, yoo-hoo. Those things that you're trying to celebrate, I love celebrating those, and I get it. I really get it. So let's go. So where else can we take this? Yeah, I want you to hear that. This isn't about ego. This isn't about, oh, my heart is broken because not enough people really know the real Ramey. This is about practical damn survival. I know how to do these things, and I hear a lot of people saying they need encouragement on how to do these things. Well, maybe I'm not the frontal assault, but God damn it, I'm one hell of a flanking army in this. And where are you? Help me. The thing that Elliot said last night was, he asked me if I was ready to start dating again. Sweet kid. And he also said that getting a woman in my life would help me finish this place. That influence and everything. And he's right, of course. I mean, take a step back. 9110 is about a tall white kid who's infiltrated. Just because he's tall and white, I can go places that lots of you can't. Just because I'm tall and white. So, I've gone there, And I have grown up with a single mom who was she was one of the first women in the United States to sell ready-mix concrete. She was the first woman president of the Colorado Contractors Association. She was the first woman on their board. So I can't help but gravitate towards strong, creative, interesting, passionate women. Duh, because you're the ones that do most of the work. I get it. That's why I want to make things as easy and smooth for you as possible. Because you can do things that I have no idea how you do it. I have no idea how you balance and juggle all the crap that you do. There's no way I can do it. But what I can do is what I do. So 9110, like everybody that I've made the biggest invitation to joining these efforts at this time, they're all creative, strong women. Why? Because they're my best shot. Because all you strong, creative, independent, amazing women have taken care of me. And so I have to work my ass off to be sure that you're getting everything you need. And then when you look at me and you say, I need for my skills and my interests and my values to be more respected, especially financially. And I need to be seen for my emotions and for my intimacy and I need to be heard. And I say, okay, all right, go, share. There's The Rage in Placid Lake, good movie. At the beginning, it's a graduation party of some kind, and Placid is in the kitchen, and there's this attractive young woman, and she says something to the effect of, "You tricked me into sleeping with you." He says, "Why? Because I listened to you?" Because I am an independent and strong, creative man, and I believe I'm capable of sustaining integrity and emotion and also space for you to be present and equal in that experience with me, that I should expect to honor my masculinity and then also to feel the passion of the presence of my own femininity and the feminine energy in the world. So you're going to hate me because I respect you? I can't do much about that. So of course, Elliot, you're right. But my friend, this is such a bigger scale. It's like fractally speaking, you know? It's like it's a bigger scale, but only because you're into that next layer of the beauty. These doors are wide open. Get in touch. I need to speak to one other thing about that. And this really this process is really, I don't have kids. I don't have anybody around me. And I have been working on a couple different books, but I'm more interested in the kid books that I'm actually writing. I did have a pretty cool idea for a book though. A big book, a really big book. I'll tell you about that later. I have no idea what is going to happen with this recording, if anybody will ever watch it. I don't think anybody's been viewing it. But maybe somewhere someone will dig it up, you know? If someone would like to share with me why they think that the experiences that I've had and my understanding of them is not accurate nor possible, I'm not challenging you. I would love to hear the argument. Had I been born at a different time, maybe I would have understood how to solve problems differently. But I learned that you go to school and you ask people who know more than you, and that you have to be wary of just getting information that supports what you want to believe versus getting a perspective of things. And 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 I didn't know about non-attachment. I only learned about it because if I didn't negotiate some relationship with the pain that I was experiencing, if I didn't find some way to not ever get caught blacking out while driving, I had to have my driving privileges. I had to. I had to have the freedom to go places. I have no idea how I have no idea. I have no idea how it was that I was able to not get in accidents, to not get caught driving when I shouldn't have been. But at the same time, it worked. It worked, and I've had lots of feedback that it does work. That not only can you go and learn from people who Einstein and Heisenberg and Jung and Karl Popper and Rudy Krejci and the whole thing about Jan Welzel and of course Plato and Socrates and all that, but the life of Derek Jensen, of Daniel Quinn, of Merton and C.S. Lewis. I mean, the whole relationship with spirit and Christianity and literature and storytelling, and how do we process this thing of being alive? Are we Alice going down the rabbit hole? Do we want to be Gandhi? Do we really want to be Gandhi? I live in Boulder, Colorado. Political conversations were everywhere. Doesn't mean my family was in them, but they were everywhere. You could not be in it. Rocky Flats, just south of Boulder. Incredibly toxic environment. I understand the need for reasoned argument, for fair and just perspective. That's what I understood we were supposed to do as young men growing up in the 70s and 80s. What I don't understand is, for instance, a service organization withheld offering the scholarship for students graduating high school the year that I finally did graduate, because it would have been an unfair advantage for me, that I would have been guaranteed to win that because of what I'd done. How does that make any sense? That because I've earned the award, you withhold it. How does that make any sense? And beyond that, how have I not turned all of those times into negativity? I mean, I've given the systems and the people the benefit of the doubt, and I have learned to roll with it. These here now are an effort to respect that I have no bloody idea on what to do. And I have to make record of that. I have to acknowledge the truth of that. And since I did have those two gentlemen, but there's something that still wasn't said last night. There's still something that's not being reflected back to me as being understood. So the thing about a woman's energy here, here's one of the other bells. Partnership has probably been the sole preoccupation of my existence. I've probably given intimate partnership more attention in my life than anything. And the desire for a relationship that I felt was respectful of those in it is something that I've yet to fully touch. I have had some amazing and beautiful relationships, just epic beauty, epic beautiful relationships. I was never very carefree with relationships. I saw a lot of carefreeness around me, and it seemed to bring a lot of heartache. So I think I swung the pendulum quite the other way, and I don't think I needed, it wasn't like I was hanging out with guys all the time and needed to date women just to get some feminine energy. All my friends were women. I mean, I grew up with women. Like, I didn't need that injection of feminine in a sense. And so I never attached to any type, really. I guess I had influences, like I was a fan of Madonna, and I think a lot of people thought that there was some like physical attraction to Madonna when she first came out. I just love the creative spirit of it. But who's gonna believe a young man who I mean, even now, like, it's the honest truth. Like, I just loved her kind of, fuck you, here I am, like, I liked strong women. That was interesting to me, and I love that kind of spirit, that kind of, and then as soon as she became something, then it was like, now you can't, now I couldn't like her anymore. Well, and that's too simplistic, but I thought Belinda Carlisle was attractive. I'm trying to think of who else, like, just on a physical thing, But again, I love the playful nature of the Go-Go's, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High is just, there's just some giddy romanticism about that fantasy, the way that world was, It's almost like the Breakfast Club, like it's so easy to attach to that being the reality, because it was, but of course it wasn't at all, but it was, So there was something about the Go-Go's, the music that triggered that for me. And I thought she was the cutest. Belinda Carlisle was the cutest of all of them. But other than that, I've never really had a type. Some physical type or personality type or anything else. Well, I guess maybe subconsciously there's been a type. So over the years, as I had more experiences and friendships in my own relationships and living with women and and dealing with the magic of creating choices and exercising choices with another dynamic and strong and intelligent human being. Oh, like a pinball or something, you kind of, like, oh, boing, okay, well, I'm not sure how to, you just kind of, you learn, right? Like, okay, I understand that part of me now, or that part of a personality, or some dynamic. I mean, you mature. And through that all, I had this not image, but a presence of another person, a woman, and she had always been with me. She had been built, almost like Weird Science right here. I'm talking about all these 80s movies. Excuse me. But I mean, that's only true because I don't know what other language to use. I mean, it's not like I had built up an image of who somebody had to be. I mean, this was just, man, I was locked inside myself so much with only, so many years with just a few things that I could attach to that would allow me engagement with the outside world, that I had done so much internal traveling and journeying and conversing, and so many spirits or presences or friends would help, and they'd be influenced by the voices around me that I would hear, or memories, or where do dreams come from, or the sensations of knowing that your hand is doing something, but you have no attachment to it. Like, oh, look, isn't that interesting? And then it's not even your hand. Like, you can't even look at it like, oh, interesting, that's my hand and I don't feel it. Like, you really just don't attach to it. And so there's just this hand. And then later you go, oh, whoa, was that my hand? And then you start to figure out, like, whoa, what's this experience, And so an important person for me through all of that was this woman. And she experienced and grew and changed, and I revisit lots of places in my dreams. One place I have, like I'm working on it, I'm building it. And one time, and every time I go back, like, more work's been done. And sometimes I do the work, and sometimes, it's just more work is done. And one time I went and there were squatters, so I had to deal with negotiating having the squatters living in the place. That was the second to last time I dreamt about it. And it's been, I don't know, a few months now since I dreamt about that place. So it's not an unfamiliar experience. It wasn't that I would have a dream where this person was in it, and then I would think, oh, that's my true love. That's that's my soulmate, and I'm looking for her in every crowd. It wasn't like that at all. I mean, have you ever flown in your dreams? And yeah, maybe when you first wake up, you're like, if I just attach to that feeling in the dream, maybe I can launch off the earth, But the reality is that you don't take a shower and put your boots on and get ready to go out and start the car to go to work, if, like, you can't function in both those worlds at the same time. You have to collapse the reality on, oh, feet are on the floor, left foot, right foot, toilet lid, like, you go through that routine. You're not flying, you're not in the dream world. And you don't get angry about that. You don't, like, oh, God, life sucks because I can't fly, because I was in my dreams. I never expected to meet that person. I never attached to her being the person, And the people that I was in relationships with all had qualities that represented that, but because that's what I wanted, that's what I needed, that it's my right as a human being to decide, hey, I enjoy these things more than I do this. I respect your right. Why shouldn't I engage in my right for that same choice. And thank God for that, because the richness of the experiences that I had in my relationships, I mean, I'm so thankful that I survived them all. You know, they have been with just powerful and beautifully intelligent people. And we all had different paths, and some were deeper, longer relationships, and some included travel, and some were just intense, brief moments here and there. I was just thinking, so much of this story involves you, Internet. But I don't think it matters in this story. But it was through the Internet that, I had used the Internet for personal connection and communication. Of all the time that someone might consider that I was on the Internet looking for partnership or for romance or for relationship or for sex or for any of those easy things to attach to, I would caution you to jump to that conclusion. And I would have you consider, and especially if you are one of the persons, I would have you consider just how actively I have not used the Internet for that purpose. I worked really hard here in Alaska and in Fairbanks leading up to 2000, 2001 to be a part of the community, and was involved, was connected. But after 2000, 2001, I went through a challenging time with how I was going to maintain existence with the Internet, as well as how was I going to maintain existence with real community. And so, yeah, I use the Internet a lot, and I don't know how people meet. You know, I don't know how to be one of those cool guys that goes to clubs, and I'm not a head turner. So, and I'm not interested in how do you, especially if you're visiting the town. For some 2 years, a little over 2 years, I wasn't in any one place for more than 22, 23 days. Why on earth was I? You know? And in that time, yeah, I met people, and I shared incredible adventures with many, in many contexts. And some of those people, we were more intimate, whether through hearts or, I had this conversation with this woman who was going through a divorce, and I mean, we took a walk. We met at a coffee shop, and we took a walk for 2 hours, and that was it. It was it. And it was an incredibly intimate, and like she just needed to share the craziness of what was happening in her life. I don't know why I find myself in that situation for people a lot of the time. I don't know why those people find me, but I know I gain from them, and I try to be as respectful and considerate as I possibly can. But I know that through the series of those events, like Frogger, right, that you jump from log to stone to turtleback to log to stone to turtleback. So I used the Internet. I had profiles. I didn't have a way to connect with real people. And so I noticed a profile of someone in British Columbia, and I just said, oh, that's a pretty area of British Columbia. I've been through there. And she had apparently just put a profile up because she was trying to help a friend find somebody else. And it wasn't, but 2 days later, and these stories are everywhere. I get it. But she sent her first picture. I didn't even see it. She didn't even have her profile picture up. I'd said hello to so many people online. A lot of people have said hello to me online, you know? And she sent her first picture, and it was like, holy crap. Holy crap. Not, wow, she's beautiful or nothing like that, but, oh my God, that's her. Like, that's that person. And she shared the same experience. But see, here's the thing, is that whether she looked like the person and whether she knew things that only that person could know, the person that I had experienced, like we were that person for each other. We still weren't those people. We still have individual choices and lives and things that we're healing from and preferences and ideas. But what a novel experience to actually meet that person. Doesn't mean it's automatic, like, oh my God, now you're in love and everything's going to be peachy keen and you don't have to do anything. Just show up. And she had been on her own path, her own practice to understand what that means in your body, to understand what that means in your spirit and in your mind, and what that means when you share your heart and when you share your everything. And how powerful it can be to share that with other people. And if you can create a space for that, and if you can participate in that process with the world, that it's good for us. Well, how cool was it to find out that I knew the same stuff? You know, even what I learned about that person themselves, I did come to love her, and I do love her. I've been told by a few people that I'm a pretty unlucky person because I have not had reason or cause or happenstance to run into people who are out there more engaged in creative and passionate living. I can understand that. I mean, it's unlucky that a 15-year-old was kicked in the head and you know, had to figure out for themselves how to deal with the emotional trauma of being rejected by all the kids you knew growing up, by all your friends, you know? This isn't a poor me, but don't you realize what it takes? What about these kids who are being bullied? What about the kids that are shining, that are saying, go ahead, bully me as much as you want, because fuck you. Because that's not what life's all about. Why should those kids have to struggle so hard to be supported? God damn, man, give me a break. You know, it's like, because I can do 95%, you want to force me to have to prove my 99%? You know, do I have to be in the 99 percentile? You know, I went for this. I've never taken advantage of my injury. In fact, when I was doing speaking and everything, people wanted me to talk more about, I'm a survivor from a brain injury, and isn't it beautiful and great, and let's celebrate it. That's not what needs to be celebrated. What needs to be celebrated is that whatever it is you're dealing with, whatever it is, if it's a teenage pregnancy, or if it's a parent who needs mental health services, or if it's, you know, that you served in the military and now you've come back without a leg, like whatever it is, you have parents with dementia, you don't know how to afford their care, like Christ, traumatic things are happening to all of us. It's not me, Ramey, surviving a brain injury. It's me saying, I survived a brain injury because I get that it's not just me and the brain injury. And I am capable and energetic, and I can walk, and I can talk, and I can articulate, and I can share with you what it's like. And I can help you understand someone else, and I can help someone else help understand you. I know lots of people are meeting people online and going, oh my God, it's just amazing. That person's just amazing. And when I hear those stories, I say, well, that's not the same as not that mine was bigger or better or anything else. You gotta please let that go. I'm trying to explain how I understood that relationship. And this is one of the most powerful and amazing women I've ever come across. And she could articulate with me back in 2010 and then again this last summer. All the pain of her vulnerability being abused. And all the concern and the weight of having her heart broken in an ultimate way. Oh, you beautiful people, I get that. I don't know what to tell you to do. But I can't live in that fear. I can't live blaming you for things that you're not responsible for. And I can't live allowing you to blame me for things that I'm not guilty of. So I've never taken advantage of my head injury, and things have been very difficult this year, last year and a half. And I've been at my wit's end. And I became aware of a program in the state of Alaska where people who are beneficiaries of the Alaska Mental Health Trust, which includes people who have survived brain injuries, can apply for a grant up to $10,000 to help support them in building their own business. Well, isn't that interesting? Because that's exactly what I'm doing. So the process of applying for the grant, I shared quite intimately the background and influence for the aging advocacy business and my education and why. This is Nori. And it came down to the crunch time for the application, and we swung together an application and a business plan for what are you going to do? You shouldn't step on that because that's not very stable. Excuse me. And their grant, their program was all about supporting people who have been identified as not able to fit into a system, a structure, and that inability to fit into the structure, let's not pretend that they were saying that the inability of the structure to accommodate these people. Let's be sure that they definitely consider the disability as primary, not the structure's inability, which is bullshit to start, but that's the way the structure is built. It's designed for that. The application process was clumsy. If like some of the other individuals who were applying for the program, if I had some of the confusion and the challenges that they live with, I can see how I would have just completely given up. The system that exists to support people in becoming more efficient and responsible for themselves didn't act with respect towards them. The application process was not clear. The instructions. I mean, here's the population saying, we understand that you have a challenge understanding how the system expects of you unreasonable things given who you are. So here, let's give you a list of unreasonable expectations and see how you do. And then we're going to see if you're okay. And then if we give you a passing grade, maybe we'll help you get your business started. Oh, did we say that there's no response in terms of letting you know when you're going to receive an answer, and you put a lease commitment down on your retail space or some goods or something for your business on November 1, and we don't bother getting in touch with you until mid-December? Gosh, sorry. So my application for the grant was conditionally accepted, and so we had to go through a process of answering a few questions. Well, I found out that they received the last dozen or 15 pages of the plan itself. Really was never received until the day of the thing itself, and they asked me questions. The grant application was to invest in the structure here to make it more of a retreat space. It's been used by travelers for years. I have a documented history of it, of working with the Goliath expedition for 4 years, and this place being a seasonal headquarters, and as needed. Motorcyclists. I've had environmental folks, artisans, and I mean, this is a long history of this place being used for that. I know how to sustain it. How do I know how to sustain it? Because duh, it's still here. Like, it's not burned down yet. Like, yeah, there's deferred maintenance to it, but my God, like, look at what has been done with what we've had to do it. Geez, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the math, So in the plan, I have $1,000 for backhoe rental, which I negotiated with a local backhoe place. Rimpack in town, man, in Fairbanks. Good guys over there. Thumbs up for them. I appreciate their support. And they said, okay, well, they came to the rescue after another place wasn't able to accommodate me, and they let me rent the backhoe for a week and owe them as soon as the grant came in. I didn't even know that I was going to be accepted by the time that I rented the backhoe, So I go through this conditional acceptance, and I have, plumbing and building and everything else. And they don't ask me if I have the skills to run a piece of heavy equipment. They don't ask me if I have. They don't ask me anything about the actual project, the actual business. They don't ask about the travelers through here or anything else. They want to know if I've thought through the process enough that I know who's going to be here to receive guests if I happen to be in the store, in town at the store. Or have I thought through the detail enough to know who's going to buy toilet paper? Seriously? Do you not see what's right in front of you? Do you not see? Obviously you can't. Subsequently, I found out that they wrote the checks, which the checks were made to the vendors exclusively, which ties my hands because I can't maximize the value instead of making deals with people on Craigslist and other things to buy sinks and be creative about how to create the space. They tie your hands and make you go to one vendor. Well, you could get multiple quotes and stuff. For a project like this, though, I can't do it like that. It doesn't work as well, So the checks that they cut were cut on the wrong account. So nearly $10,000 in checks from this big organization in the state, which they throw money around, I'm sure, for their board meetings and for all their publicity. They ran a 30-second. They came to us through, I don't know how, they came to Karen. And they came to us saying, hey, you're a beneficiary. Would you mind doing a PSA for us? I never asked for it. I don't know why they were having a hard time getting people. The half dozen people they sent for Fairbanks for a day to do a 30-second PSA on the fact that, hey, I'm a brain injury survivor. Where's the value? I've learned a few things about how to put value into supporting people, but they don't want to hear that. They want to blow the dollars on finding out if I've thought through the detail of who's going to buy the toilet paper. Man, I have a field named after me, damn it. Like, I know how to organize some of these things. I've done some of this work. Open your goddamn eyes. And it's your mission to have your eyes open. It's in your goals, your statements. The whole existence for that plan was to support me. And you can say, well, Ramey, what are you complaining about? You got the 10,000. I was about ready to shove it back in their face because of the demands, the contract that they sent. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. And every time I approach this in good faith, in benefit of the doubt. And I say, hey, listen, I can see how what you're doing, what you say you want to do, I can see how I can help you make it better. And then they slap me for it. I know those experiences. I've had coaches and professors and administrators. I was threatened to get kicked out of my undergrad at university because somehow they thought I broke some student code of conduct. Why? Because I'm saying you got to work harder as an instructor to do better than to have love, the definition of love on a multiple choice exam. When you have a 3-hour class in marriage and the family sociology class, and you have in that room older women and young people and athletes, and every Wednesday for 3 hours you gather and you teach love from a textbook, fuck you. I'm paying for this education. You got to give me better than that. And the president of the university says that I deserve better than that. So buck up. Let's go. I'll buck up as a student. You buck up for your role. You're getting paid for it. So what's the problem? I don't judge you for it. You're the one that chose the job, not me. You're the one that said that this is what you want to do, not me. If you want to do it, if you want money and you don't have to work, go somewhere else. That's your choice. But I am here to motherfucking learn, man. And you're being paid by an institution which promises me an education. So kick me out of school. Go for it. Knock yourself out, director. Go ahead. I know that role. I know that role. I know that role in relationships. And maybe it's unlucky, but I've needed that. I've needed every single instance. And I think in 2010, and I think again when Robin got in touch this last summer, you beautiful woman, there's nothing to fear. It's just a choice. And if we have expectations that we don't communicate, or that are not really reasonable, or that our motivation is something other than what we say, it's okay. I respect that, and I have to make the same choices. I had to walk away from Robin this summer because the systems, I get why the mental health trust operates that way. I get why the universities do. I get the constraints of being a single mom raising a couple kids with an asshole husband or soon to be ex-husband. I get that. But I also get that all of those scenarios, there are people who say one day for whatever reason, I'm not going to live like that anymore, and now I'm going to do something else. That's my tribe. That's where I'm going. And so here I met that person, and then I got to know her and tried to share me. And that scared her so much that she shut it out 3 years ago. And I grieved. And I lost Dylan, and I grieved. And I felt beautiful about it. And I felt beautiful about the work that I've done the last 3 years and the challenge that my body and my health has presented, and that I've stepped up to it. I'm here, and it's better. And even if it's not, so what? So what if I have to deal with with the pain or the irritation and the twitching, you know? I mean, so what if I'm never free from the blackouts and stuff, you know? So what? So what if there's 2 days? So what if 2014 is it and I die on January 1, 2015 from a stroke, a heart attack, slipping on ice, car accident? I mean, it can happen in any way. It was clear to me, and I tried to communicate it with her, that there was an unreasonable expectation and an accountability that I was being held to that wasn't me, that wasn't genuine from the experience of dealing with me. What I felt, what I witnessed was her reacting to the rejection and the trauma from so many relationships, from so many slaps to the heart and slugs to the gut and punches to the nose, that again, I was never given an opportunity to not do that to her. And no matter what I did, it was made to be an insult, an attack. And they never were. They never were. There was nothing broken. I went fishing with Elliot and that gang of friends down to Chitna one year, and I have a way of doing Chitna that I enjoy, and this was the first time that I hadn't done that the way that I've known how to do it. And it was just different. Not worse, not better, just different. And when we got there, I just wanted to fish. I wanted to fish, I wanted to get my fish, and I wanted to come home. And I was tired, and I was impatient, and we went down into the canyon and down a steep slope and on a good rock, and it was a good hole. I was catching fish, but I didn't take the time to tie in. And as you catch the fish and as the rocks get wet and then you club the fish and the slime, things start to get slippery. And so it was probably 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the summer, so it's light. And I was the only one there. Everybody else was sleeping. And I was reaching to secure, just on this little ledge, I was reaching to secure, after catching a fish, clubbing it, and then stringing it. I was reaching to secure the string of fish in it was kind of a wedge. So rock face here, a little bit of a wedge, and then a little bit of a lip out, so that you could put your heel here and fish. But then I had a rock wedged in there with another rope so that it locked it in place. So I was trying to get that rock in to hold the string of fish, because you don't want to lose everything you caught, right? And my heel slipped. I didn't have a vest on. And I just went, whoop, and I was able to catch that ledge right there with my fingers. And the forces pulling my legs, and it was one breath, and it was like, you have one chance. And I'd like to say that I had the strength to just shoot myself out, but it was a challenge to get up out of that water. and I was just afraid to move. And I think, I think it was a lot of that work with ropes courses that really helped me process that, just body memory, not to let the body get locked in that stress. So I scurried back up the hill and started to get ropes. And then I went right back to fishing. I had to. I almost drowned once floating from Moab to the Grand Canyon too. Well, it's Lake Fowl. That was with Tom Dalvin, my big brother, big brother's big sister's thing. We did that trip in like 80, 81, 81 maybe, 81, 82, 81, summer of 81. And part of that trip was getting off the rafts and then doing a climb over the hill, and the rafts came around, right? And it was that was a nice trip. And then trying to get back on the raft, another kid, we just bumped, and I lost my footing, and I felt a rope, but I think it was some river rat, just honk, and helped me up enough to get me secured to a rope that was on there were the rafts with the cones on the front. And I remember then just giving to it, like, that's it. There it goes. I've watched all these movies about dying and death and facing that. And it's not like I've kept my own stories secret. But I don't feel like people think it's real. Nobody asks, like, Ramey, you've just recommended like 3 movies and they're all about somebody surviving death. Is there something that you're going through? I tweeted, and I tweeted a couple times, I know what I do when no one's looking, And I know that it was made very visible to me that Robin felt offended, that she felt hurt, that she felt insulted, that she felt confused. I could see that. I heard. I know that. But I didn't act with disrespect by not immediately asking how she was after she gave me a 2.5 hour massage. I mean, you go through a 40-minute massage and it takes you a few minutes to kind of collect, And not to share the intimate details, and it's not too intimate, but it meant a lot to her. She built a music soundtrack for it, and I stayed very present through the whole thing. I didn't drift off asleep or anything. Like I knew it meant a lot to me. Like my health is needed care. I like touch too, So here's somebody who says they love you and they want to care for you underneath their hands and their energy, and they've worked to create music to go with it, and so yes, I'm going to respect it by experiencing it, by being present for it. I didn't ask her immediately following how she was doing, how the massage was for her. Guilty. It didn't occur to me. And if that makes me a bad person, then for those who think that makes me a bad person, I have to I have to let them feel like I'm a bad person for that. I think it's an unreasonable expectation. So I'm accountable for that. And I've made myself accountable for that. I can't have a relationship where we don't engage one another. Well, I'm not sure what just happened. There was a server error, and then I opened it up, and now I don't know if it's saved what's happened or if it's just continuing it. I will have to trust the technology, I guess. Don't have a choice. Well, of course I do, but my choice is to document this using this technology. So in that world, I don't have a choice because I'm making that choice. I get it. God, do I ever get it. You beautiful independent beings, you know? Of course I'm going to respect your agency. Real time. I'm not going to try to outthink. I'm trying to outthink myself in a sense, you know? Not outthink, but I don't know how all this happens. You know, when I started my speeches, it was an accident. It was an accident. I was down near Alamosa for a lieutenant governor's retreat for that division down there, and I was very new to Key Club. I had no idea what Key Club was really about. I had no idea what was expected of me. I didn't know how to tell my 11 schools or whatever it was in the Division 11 high schools in Boulder and North Denver how to be good Key Clubs because I didn't even know what Key Club really was. So I go to Alamosa and Blair says, "Oh man, I have some people, just general Key Club members. You know, I have things for the president and the secretary and the treasurer, but I don't have anything for just the general members that are here. Do something with them. You're creative. Here's some poster boards and here's some markers." Okay. And so I went in and a friend of mine from junior high and early high school, Scott, he and I, when we were in choir and madrigals together, we would play a word association game. And except it was with pictures. And so I would come up with an idea and, oh man, I didn't bring a stir spoon? Oh well. I would come up with some idea of a picture, you know, like a house on a hill with a picket fence and the sun and a tree. And so then I would draw a line or two towards that goal, right? And then I'd hand the image to him without telling him what I was working on, and he would look at it and maybe he'd think it was an airplane wing or a stick figure or something like that. So then he would add an image towards what his ultimate thing was, and then we'd keep going like that until some goofy picture emerged, likely not representing anything what either of us started with, but some creative collaboration. And so I just started that game with these 5-6 people. And I just found it really interesting how, like, the first 3 or 4 of us, we used one poster board, and then the next person got up and used a different one. And then somebody in the crowd said, "Oh, typical of so-and-so using, you know, the extra board." I thought, well, isn't that interesting? Like, what is it about your rebellious spirit? Like, was it the color of, like, you didn't like the red poster board that we were using, or like you had your own picture in mind, and now people would say, "Oh, you changed what I was wanting to do," and then how they negotiated that, and they said, "Well, I don't want to change that. Which one? Okay, I'll do one over here." And it was just interesting to watch how the dynamics happened. And so we went through a couple rounds of that and just talked about what the experience was like. The next thing you know, the other workshops got out, the 2 hours had gone by, and all of us were in there doing that. and somebody in the crowd, said, "Oh man, I'm doing a gathering, in 2 weeks. Would you come and do the same thing?" Sure. I didn't do anything. I just started playing this game, and then everybody was excited to talk. Okay. I mean, I wasn't doing anything. Well, that led to doing, like at Centaurus High School, I did a week-long thing with their leadership classes there, and I went to the Colorado Speakers Association meetings and met other, motivational speakers for youth and talked about the strategies of it and the marketing of it. And, and again, here I was 19, 20 years old, 18, 19, 20 years old. And I have videotapes of I would have an hour and a half speech, and I couldn't prepare anything. At one point I thought, oh, let's take myself seriously. Let's make some money off this, Maybe this is a way to feel like I can be accepted for who I am and what I can do. So I get in it, and then everybody says, no, you have to have a speech. Like, give us a speech, and no, you have to do it a certain way. And I was doing most of this through Key Club events and Circle K and Kiwanis and the K family relations, working on intergenerational things. Because why aren't we talking together more? It's so inefficient. We're all doing the same shit, so let's do it. God damn it. Why aren't we talking to each other more? Because people have egos and people have control, and I don't have time for that. I want to talk to people. So how can I go into a rich high school and give them the same speech as going into an inner city high school? Or what if I have 8 people who are in their 50s, and what if I have 300 people who range from 8 to 80? How can I give them the same speech? And I saw these motivational speakers going into these places and shooting these kids up with drugs, and some of the stories are magical, about nerdy kids asking wheelchair-bound beautiful girls if they will go to prom with them in their senior year, and working out for 4 years, and then holding them all night when they go to prom. And there's all these, these videotapes of these guys skiing down mountains while the guy's talking, and he pulls the phone out. I wonder how that works. That gag works today. I can't think of his name. Interesting guy though. I went to Valley Forge and their leadership academies. Like I've soaked this stuff in. I've watched how this stuff is done, and I see the motivation in the kids. They get pumped up. Like I get pumped up, and you feel like, yeah, like I can take on the fucking world. I can do anything. I can be anything. I can make stuff happen. I don't have to buy into all the crap and the pressure and the peer pressure and the angst and all of that happening in my body and puberty, and I can direct it positively. And then a week later, like, you kind of remember that guy and you feel good about it, and then a couple weeks later, you're right back in the whole bullshit system. And those guys make money, and careers and school systems go, check, we had those speakers come in. There's something wrong with our kids. Bullshit. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you that you're wasting all these resources and you're not giving us more. We deserve better, all of us. And you pay these guys to go in there and shoot us up with drugs to get us all motivated and happy. And you pump all the sodas into the machines to do the same thing. You're blaming the victim. It's willful blindness. And I just can't take it. I just won't take it anymore. And it's you who've taught me. It's you who welcome me into your arms and into your halls and into your ivory towers and into your little collectives and your conferences and your boardrooms and all of that. You've welcomed me in. You have said, hey, this is how the system works. And I see it causing way more harm than good. And that's not okay. It's not okay. I've tried politics. I've tried education. I've tried the media. I've tried community involvement. I've tried all those avenues. And none of them are satisfactory. And I look out at all the people who are struggling to come to terms with the things that they know are true for themselves. God bless Robin, and God bless her for showing me that there is no given. What do you want from your life? So get it. Can't you forgive yourself for who you are, for what you think you've done? Who cares of what's been done to you up till now? Aren't there some places, isn't there some voice somewhere that you know in your core is available to you to start to respect more today than yesterday, more tomorrow than today? The person that you know yourself to be, not the person I know you to be. My opinion doesn't fucking count. My opinion only counts is if you make it count. And if you don't want to make it count, man, there's so many beautiful people in this world. We don't have to be friends. God, good luck and blessings to you. We don't have to be relations. We don't have to be in love. We don't have to be neighbors. Duh. But now I'm 42, motherfuckers. And now it's spring 2014. It's the 22nd of March. And Elliot, you're right. This place does want more energy than what I can provide it. So, where are you? Do you want to start a school? Do you want to talk about nutrition and health? Do you want to create a northern capital for social capital and social entrepreneurship? Do you want to do art? Do you want to talk about spirit? Do you want to build crazy towers or a ropes course? What do you want to do? Do you want to help people with dementia? Do you want to inspire young women to step up into being the powerful young beings that we need them to be? What do you want to do? I'm right here, and I'm not taking any more of their bullshit. And if you want to play with the bullshit, man, that's great, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. And yeah, I would love an intimate relationship. But if I die tomorrow, I haven't failed anything. And if I die in 40 years and I still haven't found a relationship that works, what have I lost? We get to have these experiences with one another. I can't convince you to share that with me. I'm available for you to share that with me, but it's your choice. And if you're too afraid, if you're too uncomfortable, if you're too intimidated, I bless you for those experiences, but I'm not. I'm not. Yes, I want to be seen. But what I'm trying to communicate is that I know how beautiful it is to not need to be seen in those ways, and thus I want to be used for that. I don't know how this works. I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be in a beautiful relationship and to have that person taken from you because someone else was texting on their phone and hit their car and they died. I don't know how to make sense of that. Nori doesn't either. I didn't know how to make sense out of having things that should work don't work. I don't know how to make sense out of why there was such disrespect for the life of my grandmother by denying her existence. That everyone supported a mythology that they wanted to have for themselves rather than the person themselves. Well, I respect your generation if that's the way that you need to approach your life. But it ain't going to be mine. And if you try to complicate my choices, I'm not going to support that. And if you reject what support I can offer you, then okay, you know, like recently I've been talking about having a $5 bill and being on the street and trying to give somebody your $5. If you don't trust taking $5 from me, it's not like I'm going to chase you down or beat you up. I'm not going to think about you anymore. I'm going to go on to the person who wants my $5. It's not because I don't like you. It's not because I think you're stupid. It's just because I'm offering this. This is what I offer. I offer being a part of systems and relationships that don't have to exist like all this bullshit that exists out there. That's what I have to offer. You want to step up into it? Here I am. What does it mean? Well, we're going to find out if you step up into it. Because how can I tell you what it means unless you're a part of it? How can I say what the contract is between us if you're not involved in that? And then I'm accused of being a master manipulator. And I'm accused of, I just want to talk about it. And that the people who have been stuck in the same job with an abusive boss and health problems and emotional challenges and surviving traumatic events, and they look at me and they say that I'm a bad person towards them because they want to sit on hillsides and talk about big dreams, and then they want to do them. Well, what the fuck am I doing? I have everything committed to that. I've maintained these relationships, this property, the degrees, this whole scene. And I found out how to get to here while navigating the confusion of my health, while navigating the pressures of mortgage and credit cards and student loans. Jesus, here it is. Here it is. If a system which exists to support people cannot react with an elasticity to respond to the needs of its own stated mission, then it should cease to exist. You either figure it out or you shouldn't survive. I understand that in business, and so I have a very elegant business model, which is now 3.5 years in existence as an aging advocacy business, and we started with nothing. We had a lot of commitment, but people pulled out. About $6 grand were pulled out once they, okay, I understand, I got to prove it. I've offered intelligent, creative, professional people the situations to respond to the dollars that they say that they need, and the respect that I am in this institution or I am working in this job and I am suffering from it, and I need the respect and I need the consideration, and I want to be honored for all that I am and the work that I've done and the ideas that I have and these things that I've created that are good for people and that matter, and I want to be more respected and heard for that. So I find a way to do that, and I say, here's how we can do that. Because if I can support people who are ready to do those kinds of things, when they step up into that situation, I don't have to worry about their motivation. If they get it, if they get what is possible to us, that it's not only the magic of rewiring your brain so that you can do things that you didn't think were possible, whether that's eyesight or walking or passing some degree or some test, or whether that's dealing with pain and getting off of medications, or whether that's becoming the artist or the musician that you've always wanted to be, or how to use your law degree to help people, how to solve the water problems we're going to have, how to solve the housing and caregiving and energy and transportation issues that we're going to have. If you're 18 or if you're 22 or if you're 32 or if you're 82, Do you not believe you have something better to offer us? And are you tired of being so disrespected? Don't you feel like you need to sit down and say, here's my truth, here's what I really want to do, and here's what I believe is good for me? Well, then here's a table for you, and let's do it. And that model now, it works. It works. It works. My mother has 2 new knees, and our business survived that. It survived a $40,000 contract getting all screwed up. It survived having colleagues, get involved, not be involved, get involved, not be involved. The model works. I know I haven't done a good job articulating it, because this is the articulating of it. Robin, the relationship exists because we want it to. We just have to make the choice. Do I feel like this person and who they're communicating and representing themselves to be, are they going to hurt me? Are they a risk? If I'm fair and considerate, and if I allow myself to live and be the person that I know myself to be, yeah, there might be hurt there. But I'd rather try that. I'd rather experience that. I'd rather risk that than not just give myself the chance to be who I know who I am. Well, if you want to design a new housing community for older persons, I can help you realize that dream. And if you want to know what it's like to create an amazing relationship with a man and pioneer a 24/7 life, work, travel, passion, energy, art, creativity, I mean everything, and be as fully respected as you step into the circumstance, and demand, have a chance to demand everything that you need and want, and to have that be respected, and to have it be honored, and to have it be, celebrated, because you know what it's like to not be supported, to go through that, and you know that if you have a chance to support and be involved in that relationship, what a gift to support someone in opening that up to themselves, and allowing and being a part of holding the space so that that person finds reward in trusting themselves, in trusting their heart, and trusting their spirit. That instead of rejecting them and saying, well, you don't act like we want you to act. You choose to exist in a reality which it doesn't fit with what our reality is. Even though you're saying the reality that we're saying is not you, we're still going to hold on to that. That's the way it's going to be. Well, then that'll be the way it is. I need help. There's a better way for us to be organizing and living. And I have some ideas on how we can get there, and how we can support ourselves today so that we can be better supported tomorrow, and that we can work towards having a generation born into not knowing anything other than the chance to be who they grow into being. Whatever happens. And lots is going to be happening. An aging population, the economic, environmental uncertainties, the political uncertainties. What makes any of you think that we're going to get out of this without confronting these things? Well, I've confronted them. And now I need those of you who are ready to go from where you're at. Whether you're swamped by the stress of raising kids and confusion in your relationship, and and not sure that you can risk leaving your work for your health insurance. I mean, really? Really? If I say, you know, spend 5 seconds with me, and then tomorrow 10 seconds with me, and what can we do to help encourage what it is that you need for yourself, to help model for your kids what's possible? If you want to hold on to crap, I'm not going to tell you not to. If you want to hold on to some understanding of who I am or what I'm about, that I might actually say, hey, actually, can I try to add some of that? Can I try to add some color, some spectrum? You know, there's what's contained in a line, you know, that space. So if there's a line drawn between something and the line itself, what is that? What is it that defines this from this? Digitally, right? Digital art, you draw a line and you keep going close, keep going close, keep going close, and I guess it just becomes more pixelated, right? It just the firmness of the line just becomes more detailed. But there's no line there. There's nothing to get into. It's digital. It's replicated. There's a perception of fixedness, of a consistency, a stability, perhaps. Why you can replicate ones and zeros infinitely and have a program read it and have it be a Word document or a picture of some kind, right? If I'm misunderstanding this, please help me understand this better. But when you draw, like analog or in photography, when you look at that line, it breaks down. Like there's something to get into. There's something to engage with in that experience. So, like disciplines, if discipline here and this line between them, it's an analog line because the disciplines are not real. They're a fantasy. They're a tool that we built. It's like the periodic table of elements. It doesn't exist. The elements exist. If you confuse and prioritize the table as more important or more real than the elements themselves, then you're missing something there. You have the potential of missing some great power there. If you don't understand the value of hydrogen and oxygen, like you can know everything there is to know about hydrogen and oxygen, but it doesn't tell you anything about water. And if you give to hydrogen and oxygen, you can allow water to tell you what it is. And that's kind of what I'm meaning. Hydrogen, oxygen, and then here's the line with the water. This is Sophia. Hi, Sophia. Is Noria chasing you? There's something in that line too that I was talking last night about hopelessness and fear. And fear exists. Fears are real. But maybe the things we fear are not. Maybe those are just fantasy. So if we're going to attach, let's attach to the fear. Let's attach to the reality that that's what we're experiencing. I'm afraid of getting my heart broken. I'm afraid that this person that I love and that is real to me and that I never thought would exist or be real, I'm afraid that if they turn out to hurt me, that it will destroy me, that I will die, that my heart will be broken such that there will be an ugliness that I can't imagine, whatever that is. That fear can exist. It can exist with that people, with that person, and in that relationship. It doesn't have to go anywhere. But if you make the fear the reality, as though the person is rejecting you, then you manifest the reality. You're choosing to make the monster in the closet real, as opposed to realizing it's a fear. And it's okay that there's a fear, but it's okay that there's also no monster in the closet. And how you approach healing or navigating that experience of fear. Fear is real. We can't not have fear. I'm afraid of falling off a cliff. I'm afraid of losing people I love. I'm afraid of being diseased. I'm afraid of, I hate vomiting, you know, like vomiting sucks, but it'll probably happen again, right? So I'm not going to put much energy into manifesting the reality of the fear, like, oh my God, you know, I'm going to throw up, I'm going to throw up, I'm going to throw up. And that fear will probably make me throw up. Hope. If you constantly are on this, well, I got to make myself hope. I gotta hope. I gotta smear, I think this is in What the Bleep, I gotta smear some positive thinking on top of all this negative thinking, because that way it'll happen. I think that can happen for some people. But how? But isn't it like fear? Isn't it hope like fear? Like the thing you hope for is not the thing. What is the hope that you're attaching to? Feel the hope, but don't think that the thing you're hoping for is the real thing. If you allow yourself to get into that space, explore that line. There's life there. There's nuance and relationship there. That objective, subjective, hope, hopeless, fearful, you know, with fearless, I guess. Although, you know, people say, Ramey, you're fearless. You don't have any fears. Of course I have fears. You know? Of course it hurts nobody showed up last night. Of course nobody showed up for my birthday. I don't know what I've done wrong. I don't know what, nobody talks to me. Nobody calls up and says, hey, Ramey, you were an asshole because you did this. You know? People just shut up. Well, fuck you for your silence. It's not my fault you're fucking silent and you're too intimidated to step up and say, hey, you owe me this, or you're offended by this. I have debts. I have debts to people. And I will respond to those debts just as I negotiated with them, as soon as I'm able. If you have concern over what it is I'm doing to honor, whether it's money or whether it's respect or whether it's relationship, I'm not hiding. I'm not hiding. I'm actively inviting everybody to step into, tell me how I can be used. Then use me. What do I have that you can better use? I have debts. I need to respond with dollars, and I need to respond with time, and I need to respond with consideration, and all of that. I have lost touch with so many people that I love and value so much. And it's on me. I get that. But I haven't been silent to them saying, I have no idea how to, do you want to have a relationship with me? Then please let me introduce me to you. Then please let me tell you what I'm going through. And then don't turn on me and say, well, you're doing it wrong. You're not the person I want you to be. Be more comfortable for me. Be more like the person that I have built up this fantasy. You know, it's almost like I'm a blonde with big tits and a nice ass, you know, and guys like, oh, man, I want to go out with her. Sometimes a guy who just listens, sometimes a guy who just looks at you and takes you seriously is enough for you to jump on the bandwagon and think, oh my God, this man's amazing. He's everything I want, and he must be the one. And then when I don't act like I'm your one, it's not my fault. Don't get pissy at me. I'm still here. I know what's happening. I know what's going on. I'm not talking about any one situation. This is so common. Like I say, I have a really hard time with the internet. I have technical issues. I have physical issues with seeing the screen and lights and, you know, like I have no problem being open. I'll tell you everything as I know it to be. Why is it an unreasonable expectation that you allow me my experience as as my primary evidence. And everything I'm being told in lots of fields says that that's a really good way to be. Well, this is the chance to live it. Mile High Church in Denver, you know? I mean, what? They sent an email, we need you. They don't know what to do with me. I've offered them me. Hey guys, what you say, I know in my bones. I've known it from the beginning. I've never not known it. Can you use me somehow? Here, I get in touch with the University of Northern Colorado in their Interdisciplinary Studies program, and the person who's directing it now was a professor of mine when I designed my degree there. I've researched that program. I went and interviewed the man who created it, a mentor of who was one of my mentors, and what he wanted and what he meant, and I have an intimate understanding of how the process is. I sat on the committee. I know. I pushed that degree to its limits. Like I get it. I get it in theory. I get it in history. I get it in practice. I've helped people design programs. Like, oh my God, here I am a stable, strong, intelligent, creative person who represents what it is that you're trying to support, what you're creating. Here I am, here, use me. And what they hear, what they respond to is that I'm trying to get something out of them, or I have some ulterior motive. Man, don't read between my lines. Read my lines, read my words. If you don't read what it is I'm trying to share, if you don't listen to me, I'm not responsible for your not understanding. If you don't want my $5, I'm going to find somebody who wants the $5. And if nobody wants it, then I got $5 to go buy myself a cup of coffee and a small pastry. What am I out? But damn it! If you find any value here, step up. I'm trying to keep this going as best as I can, and my body is feeling better, but I feel in very unstable ground. I am scared. Why the fuck? You know? Because I can sit here and have this ability doesn't mean I'm not surviving it. Doesn't it mean I am surviving it? What do you need from me? Tell me. If you're too scared, I hope you find a way to deal with that fear. But I'm going to die. So will you. So will your parents. So will your partners. So will your kids. If you have kids going into university now, what kind of world are they going to live in? What do you think the university is preparing them for the world? Do you think our society and our economic practices are reflective of what the real needs are? What the real access to resources are? Are you sincerely so something that my sincerity is so intimidating that you just silence me and you silence yourself with me? Oh. Well, what an adventure you've chosen for yourself then, you know? And this adventure for me, I don't know. On CBC's program, definitely not the opera, the mayor of Calgary was interviewed, and he was asked by the host what song made him feel good, and he did a little rap of an Eminem song, and it was like, oh, cool, a major city's mayor is doing a little rap. Why not? Why is that such a big thing? Like, it's not a bad thing, but the people who grew up with that as part of our world, they would be the people, it's the cats. They would be the people who would be of age and of the political mind and so forth to be in places, to be mayors of major cities. The frat boys from Revenge of the Nerds were also of age now. You know, the guys of Porky's are also of age to be mayors of major cities in North America. Why are we so surprised? And then, well, why are we spending the resources on being so surprised? Isn't that just the way it is? And so why do we live this? So I was involved with a group of people here in Fairbanks in the late 90s, and we tried a number of different things. I was involved in getting this graduate student organization started at UAF, and was exposed and involved in some small business efforts downtown, was involved in the downtown transportation studies that happened then, and other local activists, local community decisions, local planning decisions. And there was a group of us who were meeting around, hey, our community isn't reflecting the things that we need. We understand there are needs here that aren't being met, so let's get together and come up with some solutions on what to do about that. Well, this group we called Think Again, but it had a couple different incarnations, I guess. It lived through a couple different experiments. And we tried local media, and we tried a local meeting group, a forum, community forum, where we talked about local media and the missile defense system and Iraq and northern identity. What does it mean to live in the north? What do you love about living in Alaska? You know, just things. And it was good. It was successful, but it was preaching to the choir. You know, like give Al Gore the Nobel Peace Prize because he stood up to the election process of 2000 and said, is this really what we want to be as a country, that we're going to allow this? But instead, the guy puts out a movie for people who already know what's wrong, and he sits there on Inauguration Day and claps. You know? Sorry, dude, you don't deserve the prize. You don't. You don't deserve any of my respect either. You had a chance, you had a position, and you caved. Good luck to you, but I'm done with you because, you know, it doesn't... You failed in your mission. So we ran a local campaign for a borough assembly, and a really beautiful experience, you know, to spend $1,200 and get 22% of the vote in a three-way election against two heavyweights in the borough. One has the lunchroom in the borough building named after him. We had more front page coverage. We had more column width coverage. They spent $15,000. I've learned. You know, I've learned, and I don't understand why. You know, we decided to jump in to try to get some of the conversations about community and values and loyalty to values, to ways of being, to ways of operating, to ways of relating to the people who share the bioregion, the space around you, who are going to have to heat their homes and eat the food and drink the water that's around you. Don't you think the people that live where you live, don't you think you know better how to live where you live than people who live 3,000 miles away? Just curious. What do you think? So we got involved in the Green Party and got that resuscitated here in Alaska. Alaska was the first Green Party to have ever started in the United States. at the time, the national 2000 election and Nader's candidacy. And there were two national Green parties, and they were dealing with their own, how they were going to negotiate, who's going to be the Green Party, you know, who's going to get the attention, who's going to ride this wave. Being created by Nader and Michael Moore, and at the nominating convention for Nader, and there's so much about the Green Party and so much about those efforts. I don't know how much more I'll touch on any of that today. There's a lot of people who are really smart and they've learned a lot, and there's no shortage of people willing to share with you what they've learned. There is a shortage of people willing to exercise the lessons that have already been learned. And so I go to the nominating convention, and it's a lot of rhetoric, and it's a lot of interesting stuff. But I had the fortune to meet Helen Caldicott, Dr. Helen Caldicott, and asked her if she would like to return to Alaska. I knew she had been here before, and indeed she agreed. We had a couple of emails back and forth, and she came up and she participated in our Alaska State Green Party convention, and also did some talks in town. And I had her on a radio show that I had at the time, Mayutic Radio. And one night we went to a local establishment after one of her talks, and she ordered a red wine, and we ordered a dessert. And I don't know what I had to drink. I just remember her ordering a red wine. And we sat next to a fire, and we just got to talk, you know. And I remember her, you know, doing protests down at Rocky Flats along Highway 93 south of Boulder, and reading her books, and, you know, If You Love This Planet, and her documentary, and what a treat to get to know her. And I don't know how the subject came up, but she said, I mean, here's Helen Caldicott, you know, like one of the only people, if not the only person, to meet with Ronald Reagan, like without anybody there. And somehow it came up as to what it was that why she responded to me, why she agreed to come to Alaska and to participate. And she took a lower speaker's fee than what she normally did. And she said, well, Ramey, there's just something about your honesty. There was just something about you being open. Your genuineness. It was easy to know that this would be a comfortable experience, that it was legitimate. I've had this way of being reinforced for me. And because some of you may ignore me or write me off, it's not going to change that. Do you know the fear of standing at the toilet, peeing in the middle of the night, and having a blackout come on, and being in someone else's house and not wanting to wake them or their children, and fearful about what's happening to your body and what the experience is, and not to go crazy? And to find some peace in that, to find strength in that, to find beauty in that, and to find, you know, I had another person who once said, you know, Ramey, how do you do it? How do you constantly show up again? How do you constantly show up to that openness? I don't know how not to. Tired, man. If I could close down to it, I might have by now. It hurts. It's scary. I don't know why it seems like so many of you think this is so easy. I need help. I need more support. Everything in every way. I have to do something as stupid as this. The dinner last night and now today. To just fucking put some record down that, man, I have a lot more to offer than what all you people seem to understand. And that I gotta leave it. I gotta hope that this is the sum total of my legacy if nothing else happens. It's not okay with me, but I don't know what else to do. Do you have an idea? Then let me know. A lot of really smart people have tried a lot of really interesting things, and some of them have worked more than others. And so I just try to exercise that. If there's something that I do that offends you, and especially if you have no capability to be nice or fair in addressing me with that, then that's a cancer you're going to have to deal with. I can't, it's not mine, man. It's not mine. You want to know about my experience? I'm right here. Ask. Please don't assume a damn thing. Please don't assume that I'm going to know about you. You want to tell me something? Fucking tell me. I can't wait. You know, so many people like trying to test me and wait for me to ask them questions. Fuck, I'm excited about life. You're excited about life? Let's talk about it. What? You know how many people have to sit down and they have to like go through this 20-minute, 30-minute thing of like feeling out whether or not it's going to be acceptable to talk about, like, you know, shamanism or some spirituality, or they're, you know, like, oh my God, like, okay, I get it, but do I, like, on my forehead, like, okay, we can just go with this, we can just talk about it. You want to do something artistic? Okay, what? Who do you need? How much money do you need? You want to build some theater program? You want to do some intergenerational staging of music and song and photography to help educate people about surviving dementia and being a caregiver, and maybe inspire ways for people to dialogue about how we can organize a neighborhood so that people are better taken care of? You have some ideas around that? Okay, I've got contacts, I've got people, I've got property, I've got an event coming up. How can I help you? How can I help you? What do you want to do? I'm sure there are better ways, nicer ways, more friendly ways for me to share my frustration and my passion. I've spent many years exercising all those techniques. But I'm not going to die not having given this all my best shot. And if you think I'm abusive in that process, if you think I'm too aggressive or too idealistic or too childish or too irresponsible or too tall or too male or too white or too whatever, then you're not engaging in a relationship with me. Engage with me in a relationship, let's get to know each other, and then I'll start to take some of your perspective seriously. But a whole lot of daggers are thrown at me, and they're throwing them at ghosts. They're not hitting me, because I'm not guilty of a lot of the things that many of you have projected or thrown, or the stories of what I've heard from other people. Man, I respect your choice. Elliot, you're right. But you're right at about 1/10 the power, the volume. And I need the volume turned up. I don't think anybody has clicked on this. Nobody knew this was coming. I don't think anybody's watched this. I'm not sure how I'll attach this to the other. I'll often say that no one is listening or no one's supporting. And most of the time I'm willing to back that up because even the person I'm speaking with, um, I just, obviously if I'm speaking with them, then they're playing some role in that. And I understand how my saying no one, that the person listening could reflect that they're included in that no one. I've misspoken along those lines numerous times. I've gotten intense support from individuals and from serendipity. It's been a beautiful experience, a beautiful exercise of all of this. I hear what people say is a good way of being and a good way of treating people, and I hear when people say, well, boy, if men were only more like this or whatever. And it's not that I work to be those things. It's that I recognize, oh my gosh, the way I am, just the way that I naturally am, fits with what you all say as a goal of how you all want to be, or the kind of person that you need involved in in your life, in your family, in your organization, in your efforts. Like I'm right here. I'm right here. I've listened. I've had really smart, creative, intelligent people. And all the reasons that tell me not to be this way are not good reasons. They're reasons to respect fear and hardship, to focus on lack as opposed to the creation, to construction, to living, to life. I don't know why I recovered or why I'm able to deal with the things that I am. It hurts when people who have gone through these things and they haven't recovered as much, when they don't believe me, when they don't think I'm enough for them because I'm not in a wheelchair, or because I have been lucky, because I have worked hard, because somehow something has looked out for me too. And so I am able to do the things I am. And so because I'm not more violent, because I'm not more angry, because I'm not more disabled, because I don't scream out incapability more, because I scream capability more, you're going to reject me for that too? Fuck, man. Well, good luck living that way. Good luck getting people you can count on. Good luck getting people who are going to care for you, for who you really know yourself to be, who you really want yourself to be. Because if you never give someone your back, no one is ever going to be able to get your back. And nobody can ever prove to you that they've got your back until you give your back up. Because you're a liability to yourself and to the other. Imagine that. Like, literally, you're surrounded by warriors with swords, and it's you and another person in the middle. If you keep looking over your shoulder, that means some dude over there is going to come and spear your ass, and then I'm dead. So the only way to legitimately get someone's back is to give them your back. You have to count on the fact that they're going to be there. That's all you can control, whether they're there or not. It's in their best interest to be there too, because if they can't show up and get your back, then they create a scenario in which you can't trust them. which then makes you a liability to their survival, because if you're looking like, oh my God, do they have my back? Then you're going to get speared, and then they're going to be by themselves to face everything. Getting your back has nothing to do with the other person. Getting your back says, I'm going to give you mine so that I can focus on you getting my back. Don't you understand that? Now's the time to live it. What are you waiting for? Do you think less boomers are going to turn 65 or 70 or 85 in 20 years? What do you think is going to happen to our water systems? What do you think is going to happen? What about your kids? What about my life? What about your life? Aren't you tired of hiding it? Aren't you tired of not finding some better way today than yesterday to take care of your brain, to take care of your body, to ensure that your daughter and your son have more of a future? Do you really think working for that agency or that business or whatever you're doing, do you really think that's gonna make the difference? I think there's every answer. There's a full spectrum of experiences within the answer of that. What is your answer? What are you ready for? Where are you coming from? Somebody told me, well, you don't want to listen to, this is a woman, a friend of mine, and we were talking about relationship. And she said, well, the only way it seems that you're going to be able to have a relationship is if you have a woman who's living just like you. Okay, just like me, how? Creating solo performances for no one, for maybe somebody who might stumble across this at some point, that somehow the people that helped me get here will feel an intimate respect because I'm fighting with my life to honor all the things that they've done to support me to get here? Does it mean they have to be doing that? Does it mean they have to be talking to older people? Like, what do you mean? Does it mean they have to be struggling with financial bills? Does it mean, what does it mean? What do you mean? Does it mean they have to be honest about what their situation is and where they want to go, and how they are aware of the time and the hours and the calories that they spend in their day? And is it going towards achieving what it is that they want? Are they experiencing a dissatisfaction with the way the world is and the way the systems are responding to the life that they know from their neighbors and from their own bodies and from their children and their children's schools and the workplaces? How many other interviews do we need to have that says, you know, the world's changing, we really need to do something about it, and then we turn it on to another fucking program? It's not okay for me anymore. I know how to do some of the things about it. I need you who are ready to do something about it. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're going to come from. I don't know what skills you have or what interests you have or what challenges you're facing. I don't know if you're restricted to a wheelchair. I don't know if you live in another continent. I don't know if you are dealing with an abusive alcoholic husband. I don't know if you have kids or don't have kids. I don't know if you're a man or you're a woman. I don't know if you're 84, if you're 89, if you're 49, if you're 19, or you're 10. I don't know. You're going to have to step up and let yourself be known. And then we got a lot of fun to have. Then we have some services to take care of. Then we've got a puzzle to work on. So if living the way I'm living means that you're honest, if that's only to say, man, I have no idea how I'm going to go from where I'm at to where I need to be, but I know where I'm at is a dead fucking end. Well, then that's where you're at, so let's talk about that. That's the same place I'm at. I'm dealing with crazy physical sensations. Aren't some of you interested in the experience of how I deal with it? Isn't somebody interested in what it's like to be practicing Vipassana and to feel a blackout coming on? Isn't somebody interested in I found my neurologist. Now it's real because so many of you didn't believe. You haven't believed. And you treat me like I'm a fake. Fuck you and your disrespect. Not because it hurts my feelings, which it does, by the way. Fuck you. But because what it does is it's blinding you to everyone else's experience. You're still seeing some need for them to be something that's okay for you. Disabled or in a wheelchair or too young or too old or having this disease or not being, what about the 65-year-old person who's an engineer? Where are they going to work? Who's going to hire them? Who's going to educate all these kids that we have coming up? Who's going to solve the problems that we've got? You really think there's an alien spaceship that's going to come and just give us that? So screw you and all the people that you disrespect. Because if you're disrespecting me, when I'm a pretty easy person, it's like, there's nothing underhanded about me. Find it. I've made mistakes. I've fucked up. I might make mistakes again. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. I'm not hiding. Ta-da, I'm right here. And you want to cause problem. I started yesterday by condemning our times that they don't give me a better place. It's not about my ego. It's because I've tried to change things through politics and through local business and through schools and through education, which are different things. Through social things and through artistic things and I, landscape architecture, and man, I've tried so many things. And none of them will allow me what everybody says they want. From me, for me to be happy, for me to find, I can't sit across the table from another professional who should know better, who should be in a position to do something about it, and they say, gosh, Ramey, it's just too bad there isn't a place for you in society. How unique it is that you're in the situation that you're in, and how unfortunate it is. Well, maybe we should do something about that, especially since from what I understand of the books that you've written and the courses that you've taught and the work that you do, the speeches that you've presented, that what you have done is to try to create a world so that people like me can be. I am the reason you've done your work. Am I wrong? Tell me straight. Am I wrong about that? I am why you did all of your work. And so now you're going to look me in the eye and say, not really sure what to do with you. Well, then why did you do your work? Then why have you done what you've done? Then why get in touch with me when you need a fix of some positivity and feeling good? And then I give you that and then you hate me for that? Because I see you as a person who deserves more care and considered approach, more respect, that you deserve a chance to have your health taken care of and not to financially struggle as much from the creativity and the artistic expression that you have, and that I have a way to help, and you're going to hate me for offering that? Wow. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to. I've done everything I've done because people said if I did what I do, I'd be healthier and I'd have more support around me. And that's what I still hear. I heard it on CBC today. I've heard it on CBC before. I hear it on Spark. I hear it on Being. I hear it at Mile High Church. I hear it at the aging conferences. I hear it in philosophy. I hear it everywhere. I hear it in books. And I say, yep, I know that. I don't know it because it's a book. I know it because I know it. I know it because I am there. I have felt that. I don't want an award for it. I want to use it. Why do I have to relearn it? Why do I have to slow down? That's what I'm done with, man. That's what this is all about. I don't know what it's going to mean. But if you have an idea, get in touch and let's figure it out. Your participation or lack of participation is no longer acceptable. You're the one that establishes that line. If you come to me and you say, this is what I want, this is where my life is, this is what I'm working to achieve, then I'm going to support you there. If you have a problem with that, then you need to communicate to me that you either need to go here, or you need to go here, or you need to go here, or you need to go here. You have to communicate that to me. I will take responsibility in saying, hey, I gotta have this. In fact, I gotta have this now. Okay? I'll relate to you with wherever you're at, but this is where I'm coming from, and I'm happy to relate this to wherever you want to be. This is not a hierarchy. This is just, this is just thin air. There's no better than, but but don't think I'm not coming from here. And don't expect me to have you coming from somewhere other than what you determine is what reality, experience, circumstance, challenge, whatever that you're coming from. It's very simple. It's very easy. If you can't trust it, if you can't trust me, then that's not my issue. If you can find a way to trust the fact that you don't trust it, we can engage. Then that's you being where you're at. Then we're on equal terms. We're on equal terms as humans. As 7 billion of us that are going to have to fight for the care of our loved ones and the care of our own bodies. And I don't have enough around me. And I have a lot to offer you. And the sooner that some of you realize what that is and take advantage of it, the better off we're all going to be. I have to continue to be the strongest left arm possible. I got to continue to find ways to let you know what the fuck I'm all about. So here I'm trying to do that. The absurdity of this. If you think there's a better way for me to do it, then step up. Then be where you're at. Engage. Don't tell me how to be. Do not tell me how to be. Engage with me on where we're at and where we want to go. I'm not going to be loyal to you, and I don't want you to be loyal to me. But if we share a similar loyalty, then why aren't we honoring that? Why are we respecting other people's loyalties to things that we know are damaging to us and the people that we love? It's nonsense. Literally, it's nonsense. It doesn't even fit with the sensory world that we experience. Our bodies are rejecting us. How many more how many more friends of cancer are we going to have to lose, huh? How many more to cancer are we going to have to lose? How many? It's our own bodies saying, fuck you, can't live this way anymore, so got to start rejecting who you are. I know everybody wants to be seen for who they are. So, let's start seeing people for who they are. Let's start putting our resources and our work in places that are going to support that happening. Isn't it easier and better for you when you're around people who know what that experience is like and who know the value of being supported in going through that? Think of a restaurant whose entire staff are all actors. and they're just there until their acting thing happens. Well, then there are places where the waitresses talk about acting. There's a difference. Well, what if the group of actors, what they did is had a restaurant that was their stage? Why isn't that an so they're actors and servers, and why not? Why not? If somebody can come up with that, why not? I had a few notes from yesterday. I didn't think anybody would be sitting at the table with me last night at all. And so I had some things written out, just some notes, not, just nothing to, no script, just my importance of different experiences, the role movies played. I had to take a cue off of how to be from movies because I had no other experience, and it was interesting how effective it was. Like my mom took me to see Reds in the theaters, and that had to have been like early 80s, 79, 80, 81. The Warren Beatty movie Reds, right? And I remember going, oh my God, like how am I going to survive this? I mean, here's a 7, 8-year-old kid going to see that movie at night. And, my mom didn't know how to parent. She just made the best choices that she did. Her parents didn't know how to parent. Where the hell would she have learned, Did she make mistakes? Of course she did. Have you? Have you made any mistakes? So what? For me, she was the perfect parent. My brother and sister, they caught her at a different time. All the kids are born at different places, it's not the same situation. So she drugged me to this movie, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. And so the only thing I understood to do is just pay attention to the movie, try to figure out why the characters were relating the way they were to other people. I think that's one of the reasons my dinner with Andre, like the whole play on being real but performing the real. But you have to separate it, but you also have to be it. I think I've been afraid of going to the stage. I tried to do musical theater, but they always said I was too tall. If I wasn't good, I wish they would have just said, hey, you're no good. But they always said I was too tall, which I don't think was true. So then why weren't they honest with me? Why don't they just say, hey, listen, this. Like yesterday, the guys say, oh, you're so intense, Ramey, that's why people, well, no shit, I'm intense. Okay, got that, check. That doesn't help me. I know that already. So what else about what I'm trying to talk about is the problem? Do you want to learn about it? Or, like let's go through that. And I know every time I have experience with Elliot, we always talk about big things, but we're not the same generation. He grew up here. He doesn't know the experience of finding a new place. He knows things that I don't know. I don't know what it's like to go through. What an amazing thing they did. That ceremony, both to get married and then to end their marriage. Wow. I mean, what a powerful, beautiful thing to be party to be witness to. The community of that, I don't know how to do that. But I also know how a lot of the world that I know exists is not the world that Elliot is reacting to. And that the idea that Ramey needs to have a girl in his life so he helps get his place done is not knowing where my life is at right now. It's not knowing the fullness. I value your support, which is why I want to make you aware of where we're starting from so that your support can be as efficiently placed as possible. I want to know where you're fairly starting from so that my support can be as efficiently and fairly and justly and considerately and respectfully placed as possible. Why not do it that way? Why not put everything and anything we can, whether that's $10 a week, whether that's $1,000 to help pay for some bills, whether that's helping create a writing workshop, or whether that's just sitting and listening for a couple weeks in Alaska because you always wanted to come and visit and you just wanted to be in a quiet place. I don't care. It's up to you to tell me what it is that you need and want. It's not up to me to tell you. And if you don't tell me the truth, not guilty, not my fault. Be honest with me, man. Be honest with yourself, and let's get to work. All I'm trying to do is be honest with you. I'm just trying to be open with you. What the fuck is your problem? Oh, the bills aren't going to get paid. It's not going to be accepted. How are you being accepted in the structure? How are you paying your bills now? Seriously? The real economy that we rely on is not about the wages you're earning. Wake up! But you're already awake and you already know it. So then, let's go! Here it is. What more proof do you need? That I'm not blowing my head off from this pain because I meditate, because I'm inspired by creativity. I am doing what you told me to, and it works, God damn it! Why do you reject me for that? Yeah, it hurts. It hurts because I'm running out of my energy, man. Because I need more support. I need more of you to step up into your lives so that we can do this together more, better. I've known many of you. I have love for so many of you. And I may never see or speak to you again. And I wish you all the absolute blessings. I have to make these my final words. Until you find some reason to engage in your life and you see that engaging in your life, that there's reason for me to be in it. That there's something that I can add and contribute to your life. If you don't do that work, I don't know how to do it for you. I don't know how to tell you what I'm supposed to do in your life. I don't know what to offer you. I don't know what you need. If you can't tell me what you need and what you want, how the fuck am I going to interact with you? How can I provide? How can I engage? Where's our relationship? If you won't listen to what it is I need, where's the relationship? And how is that on my ass? The people that show up are the people that get my attention. I am overwhelmed with everything before me. Would you like to help? I can figure out some way to help you help. And then I'll be able to get the work done and be able to answer my phone better, and I can upgrade my technology, you know, and my body feels better when I'm dealing with this stuff, and I can help other people who are struggling with wherever they're at with their body. I don't know the answer for them, but I know what it's like to walk this. And I know that holding hands or holding shoulders or bracing somebody by grabbing their wrists and picking them up can be helpful. It can be nice. It can be supportive. It can say, hey, listen, it sucks to hurt. I know, because it hurts. And I know you're hurting. And let's just share space where we're both hurting. Your hurt is not more important than mine. My hurt is not more important to yours. But let's share the space where we're hurting, and then you know what? Maybe if we share the space where we're hurting, maybe we can share the space where we're caring too, and where we're loving too. And then if we're sharing that space, maybe we can just say, oh, well, we're sharing that, so then let's focus on the work to do these things. Because if that's the condition that exists, then maybe we can react and act on the condition that exists. That simultaneously, whatever the pain or the discomfort or the disease that we're experiencing, maybe what we can do with it is just allow it to be. That if we're both sharing our experience of what that is like, then we don't have to talk about it. We don't have to give it that same focus. Because we have to usually focus on that stuff to people who don't get it, to people who aren't engaged in the process of that conversation, who don't understand or who are willfully blind to the condition of what it means to try to get a graduate degree or PhD when you're suffering from some form of disability, whether it's a mental health or a physical health or whatever it is. Whatever it is. Maybe you're just a normal kid and your parents were killed. You know, why shouldn't a system be able to react to the people that it says it exists to support? It's not your fault. It's the system's fault. So fuck them. You want to talk about how to do the world, even if you're still in the system, how to do it elsewise? Then here, grab my wrist. Come on. You know? I haven't had enough wrist grabbing. I've had to find my own. And I've had a tremendous amount of support, but I need to go. I need to lift up, man. Man, give me your fucking hand. Let's do this together. If what I'm saying is a threat to you, well, when you realize the value and the beauty of it, the sincerity of it, I look forward to hearing from you. The threat is that we can't no longer live the lives that we know. These little voices inside our hearts and our spirits and our bodies are our real voices. And this idea that we have to leash or control or limit or tone down our passions or our inspiration or any of that is it's just total bullshit. It's just total bullshit. And I'm not going to allow any of my life and none of the work of my mentors to be wasted on bullshit. I mean, if you gave me, say you gave me a piece of ceramics that you spent a couple $100s on, a beautiful thing, and you saw that I was taking shits in it, you might go, what the hell, you know? But you know, like how disrespectful and everything else. Okay, well, let's change that. I'm just making this up. What if what you found out is that it's the perfect height and shape for me to take shits in, so that my back now is stronger, that my legs and my hips and my core is stronger because I'm not sitting on a toilet, and that allows me the right angle to crouch to get rid of my waist. And that what you've done is you've provided me with a beautiful reason to step up into something that I knew I needed help to encourage. So then based on the reality of my experience and you as a friend working to support me, isn't that a beautiful thing that you've done for me, even though I'm shitting in your $200 pot? I mean, if you just react to my shitting in your pot, I understand that you're going to be offended. But wouldn't you like to know why? Wouldn't you like to have some perspective? I mean, if you consider yourself a friend, if you consider yourself as someone who wants to know something about me, who wants to be involved in that, wouldn't you go, hey, just curious, what's up with that? But are you going to be so attached to the thing that you think you're giving me that you're going to react that way to it? Man, we got to mature, dog. We have got to live better than what we're living. And if you as an aging advocacy business or a national organization, or you as someone who cares about your kids and your parents, and now all of a sudden you've got all of them living with you, and you don't have any clue how you're going to pay the bills and how you're going to take care of them and the interpersonal relationships with them because they're all kind of strangers to each other. I mean, one scenario or another, you're going to find it, you're going to experience it, and then they'll throw on energy shortage or water shortage. Who are you going to count on? You think this world, you think that preying on fear is what's going to make the difference? You really think that circling the wagons and saying, well, you know, my reality has to be this, that this person who I know isn't guilty of the things that I'm accusing them of, oh, I've got to protect myself just in case. Well, then that's the circle of wagons that you'll settle in. I feel better when I'm doing interesting and creative things. And I am a tall man. I am a heterosexual man who is in touch with his emotions, has intimate experience with his neurology and his body. I'm not afraid. I have fears, but I'm not afraid of anything. And this day and age, an empty house by myself is the best there is. I have obviously not done a good enough job of communicating with you to let you know the fullness of this experience for me and what it is that I have available to support the life that all these Spark and The Current and Sunday Edition and On Being and Mile High and Education and the people who were supposedly guiding my undergrad and my master's. I mean, I've read the books, I've listened to you, and you say, hey, if you're this way, this is what's going to work out. I will be okay with my death. I know why I'm living. I just don't feel like I'm done here yet. I'm not confused or frustrated about being heard or that I need some social acknowledgement or circumstance or whatever. Like, I've had to go through this to be right with my gods, you know? Last night's dinner and the warm beverage, because it's certainly not hot anymore. Cheers. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. And so knowing that, I mean, you know, I'm still alive. I'm here. I'm here. Which means I'm not here. I'm not dead. I'm. Don't you have something you want to say? All of you have told me how valuable I am, how valuable it is, all the things that I do and I say. So why am I here alone? I hear and have felt so many of your arrows, and I've heard so many things of, well, Ramey, you need to do this, and Ramey, you need to do this, and Ramey, you need to do this, but none of you really take the time to sit with me to understand where I'm coming from. And when I sit down with you to hear where you're coming from, you don't reveal it all to me. How am I responsible for that? You want to tell me what to do, then sit down and learn about me. And then let's support each other. Let's sit down and be straight with me about who you are and what you want. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Because fuck you if I'm going to have a relationship with you then. Where's the relationship? I'm in a relationship with you, not what you think you want me to want you to be. Then you're not mature enough to be in a relationship with me. That's the way it is. If you want to go, oh yeah, I noticed that I'm doing that, so let's talk about the fact that that's happening and I don't want to do that, well, then you're mature enough. Yeah, I have a higher expectation, and fuck you if you don't. Seriously? You think the way that people treat each other out there is okay? And so the way to respond to that is to be shut up about it and to act like it And to expect people to treat you that way, whether they do or not, it's incredibly inefficient. And I don't see it making any of you very happy. Are any of you happy that way? Are you getting what you want? You're getting what you're creating, but are you getting what you want? Do you want what you want? Are you afraid of self-sabotage? Should be. I'm just trying to survive long enough to have a lot more fun. Because I want to dance. I want to move through what life I have left, whatever my ability, and enjoy it. It's all I have left of me. If I have another experience like June in dealing with some of that experience with that what I call the full-on trigeminal pain and a combination of factors emotionally and physically, spiritually, I don't know that I'll make it. Like, I don't feel strong enough to face death right now. I'll lose that chess game. I just think it's unfortunate that I haven't gotten to share more before that happens. So I have to do something about that. And if you're here in Fairbanks and you don't want to participate, good luck to you. And if you're in Australia or the UK or Germany or Russia or Canada or somewhere in the lower 48, well, let's go from where we're at and talk about where we want to be. And then we'll get there, just like it's done. Just like it's done. My love is mine to offer you, and if you don't believe it or trust it, that's not my issue. And I do love you. I do have incredible love for all of you. I respect the choices that you make. I just can't make the same ones often. And I won't allow myself to be disrespected because I don't make the same choices you do. Especially if you yell at me for not respecting you and your independence and your agency. My brother used to say, you gotta respect me because I'm your older brother. I used to say, fucking do something I can respect and I'll respect you. Beat people up, pin me down, pour chew spit down my throat, you know, scare us by trying to kill yourself and then running off into the mountains. What about those activities means I should respect you? You beating the shit out of our sister's boyfriend in the front yard, putting him in the hospital with clobs of matted blood on the grass? Sorry. What about that am I supposed to respect? That younger brothers of other kids and vice principals of schools that every time I went into another place they said, hey, you better not be like your brother because if you are, you're gonna have problems. Okay, tell me how to share that. Tell me how to respect that. Tell me where in that is joy. Where does that end well? My brother Lance was a victim. Nobody in the family supported him except my mom. Yeah, he lived with my grandma for years, but she enabled him because she reinforced the same behavior that she was afraid to deal with, and they found it comfortable. All those relatives live like that. And Lance sat there that night, and he went through his, and Monica, Jeff, man, he loved you guys. I never saw him. Debbie knows better than me, but I never saw him treasure something as much as I saw him treasure you. he had a bad lot, man. I don't know why people are born to where they're born to, you know? He had a bad lot. But he also made really bad choices. And I know he knew better. I heard it. I heard it. I witnessed it. I know he knew better. I'm accountable for knowing better, so why isn't he? And why aren't you? Oh, it's hard. Oh, it's hard because the pain is too much. Or my ability is so limited that, you know, I can't do this from here to there. What about that do I not know? Okay, no, I'm not in a wheelchair, but that's fucking right. I'm not in a wheelchair. So what about this do I not know? Does somehow that I am not hobbling in some way, that somehow means that I don't have a justifiable position and understanding of the experience? Because I'm surviving it? Because I'm thriving with it? Because I'm learning all those things, that I have all these programs and these special people who are featured as being specialists in these areas? Because I'm enacting those things? I love my brother. I believe my brother and all of his choices should be respected to the fullness of what they are. Not what my perspective of it was, but of what they were. Not some romantic idea that somebody wants to believe that he was some way, whether it was negative or positive, but some realness to it. Doesn't his son deserve that? How do we learn patterns? How do we learn legacy? How do we learn to grow up, to move on, if we don't have a chance to assess? If as a parent you don't let your kids grow up, woe is them. You're not helping them. You're not protecting them. If you want to support me, ask me about how to be supported. That's what I'm learning. That as someone who is engaging with a population similar to the one that I'm in, what you do is you got to let them take priority. You got to find out from them what it is that they need. That's what everybody's teaching us. We'll see. I believe it outside the session. I believe it within our organizations. I believe it with our accounts, our personal accounts, our dollar accounts, our friendship accounts. We have to live that way. I'm sorry my brother couldn't do it, but it's not my fault. I can engage with him and his son and his ex-wife in learning about the blood that we do pass on from those people, from those decisions. You know, I don't know my mom the same way my sister does, because my sister had her fucking plate full by the time my mom was really coming into her own to learn how to be an adult and a spiritual being and so forth. So my sister got off on the path of having her own kid, dealing with her own abusive husband, getting beat up, having her kid have craniosynostosis and major surgery, cut from ear to ear over the top of his head. She had her plate full. She was so busy dealing with what was going on in her life, she had no chance to learn about what was going on in my mom's life. And guess what? I was the little kid who was getting drug around it. All those things that my mom was experiencing. So I know that the person that I know my mom to be is not the person my sister knows my mom to be. So how can I not want to introduce them? But they're so bitter and they're so like, you did this, you did this. Oh, for fuck's sakes, kids. Seriously? Seriously? Fuck you. You know, if that's where you want to, I'm not there. The absurdity of these events is to say, I'm not there. I love you, but you're dead to me. You're dead to me. That's a harsh thing to say, but don't you understand? It's because you're dead to yourself. Don't you remember those times that we had? Why close it out? Why reject me? Those letters I've written, all the help that I've tried to get. Well, you have asked me for that. You told me that you were more valuable than to be a punching bag for another asshole. So that I work to respect that in you. And instead of rejecting those assholes who beat you emotionally and spiritually for all those years, instead of that, You respect their existence more than you do mine? That you value that pain and that abuse and that neglect more? You would rather have that be your identity than walking away from that and stepping into the life with somebody who sees you as bigger and better and stronger than that? Well, maybe I should have been killed, maybe I should have died, maybe I should have been brainwashed, but I haven't been. Here I am, kids. And now's the time to step up. I want you all in my life. But I can't do everything. Even though I've done a lot, you can't expect me to do everything. Show up. Show up in yourself. And if you determine that there's some interest you have, then give me a chance. If I fuck up, then tell me I fuck up, and then let's work it out. But if you don't show up, man, all the best to you. All the best to you. I need your help. I need your support. I have things that can help you accomplish what it is that you want. How do I know? Because I know. Try me. Test me. You want to dare me? Elliot, I hear what you're saying, but I'm bigger and more than that. I don't mean that hierarchical. I don't mean that better. I don't mean that anything. But the richness of what I've learned, the people that I've learned from, the experiences, the what's been reflected back to me is bigger than what you know. It's bigger than what you realize. It's like knowing somebody took a class about, took a drafting class and then expecting that person to engineer a skyscraper. But if you know the person has been trained in building skyscrapers, then you don't have to think like, oh, well, have you ever thought about, maybe drawing a little bit more? No. We're past that already, okay? Like, we can go on to talking about shear, We can move on past that now, okay? Like, I don't know that I'm interested in talking to people about the power of positive thinking. What I'm interested in is seeing how far you're ready to take it. You want to manifest your reality and you want to see magic happen? Bring it. Let's do it. That's my territory. Miracles. Let's go. We can write about it later. We can have other people talk about it. I am fortunate to have some purity of energy, my friends. And I've had to be careful about how I spill it on people. Like in Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, when he says, when you've got a shiitake in your head, it's incredibly hard not to inflict it on innocent people. I have some ability to communicate with groups of you that touch you. I don't know how I do it. It's there. And many people have used that power for selfish good, and it's dangerous because you can get followers, and people will give up their own sense of just and right because they love something about what you're allowing them to feed off of. And you can think about all the spiritual leaders who, I'm no different than so many other people, I get that. That's what I'm trying to say, is that I know that. And so I'm in this position knowing that. And that is an interesting place. That has value at this time, because I don't want to jump in front of a few thousand people and have them all donate $100 a piece. I want very much that not to happen. Yeah, I sure could use those dollars, and I know how I could take $500 and get $2,000 of value from it. I know how to do that. You want to dare me? You want to test me? Give me $10,000, and I'll show you how to turn that into 12, or sorry, into 20. I've turned it into 12 too, but I know how to do that. Look what I've done. I haven't had to clock in. I've worked my ass off. How do you become 42 years old at this day and age, have the education that you do, and to have done all the things I've done, to travel as much as I've done, to have the properties to do all this? What the fuck do you think I've been doing? I've been figuring out how to get it done. I know how to get it done. Look at me. I just want to have more fun with it all. I want to build more forts. I want more laughter. And I know I can touch people, and I don't want it to become that. I don't want to become the next bestseller writer with some motivational book or something. My experience has told me that I have that power. I can tap into that. But it doesn't last like that. Look at all these careers. Look at all these things. Yeah, you could turn into Oprah, but come on, seriously? Isn't the world bigger than that? Isn't it better than that? Isn't the knowledge of our ability to our skin to heal and our guts to digest food and our lungs to process oxygen and to transfer that into our bloodstream so that our muscles and our brains can do what they do? Like what? You know, like a in One Giant Leap when oh man, Kurt Vonnegut, and he says, you know, it's like an elephant. It's like from the Knoxville Zoo. I haven't been there, but a friend sent it. The elephant in the room. Like an elephant saying, you know, if I just had a few hundred more pounds, then everything would be okay. Or the giraffe saying, you know, if I just had a few more inches on this neck, then I'd be okay. Man, we are smart enough. We're smart enough. Our bodies are built to do this. We are capable. Men's hearts and spirits are capable. So let's give them space to do it. Come on, women. Come on, kids. Come on, older people. We know that the systems out here are full of shit. Duh! I hear you talking about it left and right on every news channel, every sports channel. You know these systems cannot sustain us. So are you going to be the 68th monkey? You're going to be the 80th monkey? You're going to be the 99th monkey? What? You think the 100th monkey, you know, whether it's a parable, whether it's true, what do you think makes a critical mass? A critical mass is made up of people making the choice for themselves to be a part of something, to do something. Fuck, how many more revolutions, how many more movements, how many more authors, how many more thinkers need to spell it out? What do you think a paradigm is? You think you get a committee together and you sit down and you say, well, this is what the paradigm is going to be, and then you set that in motion? Do you think the folks who organized the Industrial Revolution, they sat down and had the committee for the Industrial Revolution? Okay, guys, if we do this, if we do this. So the Life of Brian is just classic, poking fun of that kind of stuff. It doesn't happen that way, man. It doesn't happen that way. Paradigms are not known until it's done, until there's a new paradigm. Where does the new paradigm come up? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. How did the Industrial Revolution start? From a lot of interested, passionate people who are interested in this much of it. And then somebody else said, oh, wow, look what I could do with this part of it if I combine this and this. And what if I did this? And then look at how this can happen with this. And next thing you know, you look back and the paradigm has shifted. And we have a thing called the Industrial Revolution, which was something that responded to its need naturally based on the conditions that it was responding to. Yep. Duh. That's what we're taught. That's the way it works. So what are you doing? You're spending energy and time focusing on things that you know don't work. Wait, sorry. You know that you're having to commit how many hours a week towards making up for the errors. Hold on. Wait. Okay. So you know that you're suffering in some way and you're not happy. And you know what the causes of those things are. And the way that you respond to that is by doing more of those things and then telling yourself a story that the reason you're doing that is so that you can earn more money before you change, or that your kids might survive a few more years of enduring the conditions. Do as I say, do as I not as I do, right? What so wait, hold on. And the reason you called me is because you like the way I approach my life, and yet you and that responds to a way that you live your life, or you want to live your life, but then when I engage with you on how you can go about bringing more of those things into your life, you hate me for that? Good luck. If I could download the understanding perspective, I would love to, and just inject it right into you. But I don't know what kind of success you've ever had with that, but I don't think that works very well. If I know my life is a certain way, it's up to me to live that way, right? Isn't that my responsibility? That if I know conditions to be XYZ, that I should live according to the conditions as I understand XYZ. And if I would rather have an ABC life, then I need to start figuring out how to move through the alphabet to get to C and B and A. And if I can find a way to go over the top, over the hump, right, and just go from XYZ right to ABC, then that's okay thing too. Sometimes you may have to munch through. Sometimes you'll go to the STU, and sometimes you'll hit LMN, and sometimes you'll be right there. You're a DEF, and then oh man, you get sent back to S and back to S, right? Well, that's life. But if you really want an ABC life, and you're in an XYZ world, well then you got something figuring out to do. That's all. Doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't even mean that the world's bad. I don't know if it is or not for you. But if you want ABC, then that's what you got to do. You got to figure out a way. Jump over the hump or work yourself back. If you and I meet in an XYZ world and we both start talking ABC, well, yeah, I'm going to want to share everything I know about how to get to ABC. Maybe I'm just visiting XYZ world again, and I know some ways to get to ABC. Maybe you're like, I don't want to go that way. I don't want to sail the seas. I would rather walk over the mountain range to get there than I would go this way. All right, well, we'll see at ABC then. You know, like, why would I want to complicate or judge that process of yours? Because it's not my way? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Isn't it more fun to talk about the adventure than it is to bullshit each other about who's doing the adventure right or wrong? Come on. Jesus. I think I have a fundamental attachment to rejecting the fact that creatives shouldn't benefit from what they create in their lives. Artists who die poor, but later their art is found in museums all over the world. I understand how that happens, you know. Doesn't mean I'm okay with it. And I have some art to share. I have some assets to share. I'm just trying to figure out a way to do that before I'm dead. Maybe you have some assets that you want to share. Maybe you have some art in you, some creativity in you, some passion in you, some skills. Hell, maybe you gave up the guitar, or maybe you gave up working in a lab, you know, because of whatever reason, and you want to get back to science, or you want to get back to designing gardens for people to support their, you know, bioregion and their diets, and also to support their brain health, because they're active and moving through the land and walking patterns and engaging in soils with multi-generational populations. Like, I don't know what your gig is. That's up to you to figure out. Maybe you like carving little figurines. I don't know what you do, man. I don't know what you do. Do you like throwing pots? Do you like making wine? What do you like to do? You like ringing bells? You like teaching people? You like doing math? What do you want to do? So then let's do it. What are the constraints stopping you? And then if we deal with the constraints, are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? And what if we find that some of the constraints are just illusions? They're just myths. They're just fantasies. They're as solid as this scene, this set. It's all built, man. You want to build it a different way? Well, rebuild it. Oh my gosh, it's not rebuilt? Well, I suck. It didn't just happen. I guess I'm not worthy to live. I guess I'm not worthy to dream. I guess it's not going to work if I open myself up to the potential of what it is I really want. Because look, I wanted this all to change. Oh, and it didn't again. See? I proved it. The world doesn't manifest the way I want it to. Well, yeah, you certainly did prove it to yourself. What? To me, the world constantly is giving me feedback of the majesty and the mystery of what it can do, of what it sustains, of the design that we are here to exercise. No disrespect if you don't see it, but I don't have the same time in my life for you if you don't see it. I don't, because my body is shutting down if I don't live in that. It is directing it. I am becoming a monk in this environment, if not already. And it's hard to know how to function in this world with people. I don't function in this world with people very well. Obviously, no one is showing up for these things. I think you're lovely. I wish you all such intense beauty. There are hard things happening, and there's lots of pain, and there's lots of fear and lots of hopelessness. And all I can tell you is that I know that there isn't all of that as well. And I expect to be held accountable for saying I can help with that. I need to play a role in that with you. So giddy up, friends. Here it is, the 22nd. These days are no longer those days. You ready? Can we please get on with this? Any love. Many blessings, much love. And we're going to stop this. See you out there, whether it's XYZ or STU or ABC, eh? Okay. See ya.